So here we are, Monday, March 15th, on my way to work. How's things over in your end of the world? Just wondering. Got some snow on Four Peaks today. Had it yesterday. Actually, it's melting. It's less. Anyway, what's new in your world? It's Monday. Have things waiting for me at work. Here we go. Mr. K turn. Any fucking reason? Do nots. It's a nice cool day in the low 50s. Kind of overcast a little bit. It'll probably brighten up as the day goes on. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'll start my discussion after I get gas, which I have to do shortly. Gonna pull into the gas station, fill up. My battery took a dump over the weekend. Went to take a ride on Saturday. When I turned the key on, I got an EWS error, which basically is the RFID chip in the key. The antenna can't read it. Oh, so do I have a bad antenna? No. It usually happens with low voltage conditions too. The battery in the bike was 5.5 years old. That's pretty old. Especially in Arizona. The heat here is really hard on batteries. You know, in my cars, I'm lucky to get 2 to 3 years out of a battery here. So 5.5 years, that's pretty damn good. So I went to O'Reilly's and exchanged it for a new one. I had no O'Reilly's in there before, a Superstart, or whatever it's called. Works fine. 310 cranking amps, which is sufficient for this motorcycle. Anyway, we're on the road, but it reset my clocks. So I knew I was getting low on gas, so I better fill up. Anyway, here we go. Anyway, what were we going to talk about today? Anyway. What's the subject for today? Anyway, what's the subject for today? The subject is, does it matter? And you're going to say, what does what matter? Branding. Well, let's start with that. Branding and beliefs. I did a video recently, well, not recently, maybe a couple months ago, about tribal branding and whatnot. And the subject kind of came up because this weekend a discussion on Facebook kind of got into, should I get an Apple computer or should I get a Windows PC? And just a little background. My background is in IT. I've been using Macs since 1987 and supporting them since 94. Alright, so that's the background. And I had to think about it, I think about it from time to time. I mean, I used to be a real Mac fan, if you want to call it fanatic. And probably about, 12 years ago maybe, or a little more. I don't know, it just kind of struck me that, why am I getting crazy about this? In terms of being, part of the faithful, as it were. I had to ask myself, cui bono, which is Latin for who benefits? And, I really couldn't come up with an answer in terms of, does it benefit me? I've probably influenced the sales of, maybe a couple $1 million of Apple equipment. I'd say that's probably close. Did I get anything out of it? Not a lot. I wasn't getting my big. Apple doesn't write me a check. And, it was along this time frame too. It's like I kind of got away from sports. I'm from New York. Grew up being a Yankee fan, New York Rangers fan in hockey, New York Giants fan in football. Those were Dad's teams. And as I got older, got married, had kids, I didn't have the time to really watch sports much anymore. And then I kind of looked at it like, shit, I don't own stock in these teams. I don't get paid by the teams. I don't really benefit in any direct way. So why am I getting so involved with being, identifying with that team at all? And that kind of thinking, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel, where you're from. Everybody kind of has their own tribal stuff going on based on where they grew up and where they live, and maybe the religion that you belong to, political parties that you grew up around. I grew up on Long Island in a Republican household, in a county where the Republican Party ran everything for years, decades, for the most part, with a couple brief stints into the other party. Now, I vote independently. I don't belong to any political party. I don't go to church anymore, even though, I went to parochial school until the 8th grade. And it's not that I'm against any particular beliefs per se or anything like that. I just find that any group that I've belonged to really doesn't fit me, in a sense. Ed Koch used to say, well, if you agree with me 70%, vote for me. If you agree with me 100%, you need a psychiatrist. So for me, it wasn't even that I agreed with any of them 70%. I think 40 or 50 might be lucky on a good day. So then I found myself in the same vein with a lot of things in terms of branding, in terms of tribal thinking. What's in it for me, in a sense? I don't know. So in a lot of the circles in moto vlogging, breaks off into those tribal groups. We have the Harley, Davidson people, then we have the big four, I call it, the Japanese brands. Then we have people that are into European brands like Triumph, BMW, Ducati, KTM. And then there are other groups too, like adventure riders, dirt riders, touring riders. You know, the other group, the Goldwing group, right? They're another group unto themselves. BMW, obviously, you know, I ride one and I belong to the BMW MOA, which is, you know, Motorcycle Owners of America. And I do it really for, you know, I get a 10% discount on certain things in certain places, like for parts and tune-up stuff. So there's that. And, you know, part of it is a good source as a technical resource at times. But I wouldn't say that I am a BMW fanboy. I'm probably harder on BMW than most members of the MOA or BMW riders in general. I try to be real in the sense that, look, this is why I ride it. I do like them. The same thing with an Apple computer. But there's, you know, there are shortcomings too that you kind of have to be honest about. And I think a lot of people that get into the tribal stuff are dishonest in that sense that they won't look at shortcomings or problems or untruths, if you were. You know what I mean? And then you kind of find yourself, you know, you're kind of giving up your own intellectual sovereignty to belong to a group because you're afraid to be alone. And basically, I think with humans, that's a large part of wanting to be part of a group. You get a sense of power from being with like thinkers, and you know, you're not alone. Human beings need camaraderie and contact with other human beings. So I think in a lot of ways we give up a certain amount of sovereignty, personal sovereignty, to belong to that group. And then you have to wonder, is it worth it? I don't know. I think you can be part of groups and be yourself. It just takes a little more, I don't know if effort's the right word, or will. But, you know, there certainly are no shortage of fanboys in any kind of tribal belief or tribal branding or what have you. And I just kind of walk away and shake my head, but what are you going to do? That's, you know, the way people are. I would posit that most people don't even understand what they believe and why. They're just basically a product of their environment and their personal psychology, which is their personality. And they go about their daily business not really thinking, but just kind of like observing and reacting to the world around them. So there's always that. And we're all kind of, you know, part of that to some extent. I mean, I don't escape it either. But I think about it, you know, and I just wonder if any of you out there think about it. So that's kind of my question for the day. You know, does it really matter? You know, we get so divided over bullshit. Thomas Jefferson, I'm going to give you probably a paraphrasing of one of his writings, and it's really short. It's that whether my neighbor believes in 20 gods or no gods doesn't matter. If it doesn't break my leg or pick my pocket, I don't care. And that gets to the heart of like what I call, you know, true, you know, law. And that, you know, law is really about theft. You know, if someone's doing their thing and it's different than what you believe, fuck it, you know. But unfortunately, people, and it doesn't really matter what political or religious divide you're on, want to change the world to make it conform to their beliefs. And if someone doesn't believe, you're not part of my group, and you get cut off, even if you share a common interest. So I just, you know, like I've said in my last video, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm from another planet sent here to observe the human race, and I find the human race kind of absurd in a sense. I mean, it makes sense when you analyze it, but we're a strange bunch, that's for sure. Anyway, so what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I don't know if you ever think about this shit or you even give a shit. Maybe you're just like, well, I believe what I believe. And, you know, that's that. you know, and that's good enough for me. Okay, have at it, you know. A lot of people operate that way. But if you do think about it, let me know in the comments below. And also, like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it, you know. I don't know. Maybe we can get a bigger discussion out there, you know, about whatever we feel like talking about. Anyway, you be you. Everyone else is taken.